Hello, my name is Bryce Vites of Vites Games, and welcome to the After End Mechanics Deep Dive. My tutorial is bare bones at best, so hopefully I will be able to answer any outstanding questions with this video. Let's just start with the basics. First off, the UI, as I have it set up right now, scales to be completely transparent when it's full, so if you're at full health, you won't see this down here. I'm missing a little bit of health. That means that I can drink my potion to gain health. By default, that key is Q, and you hold it. Now I'm at full health, and you can see the potion icon bottom left, because a little bit of my potion is missing. In order to fill your potion, you pick up flowers. Flowers come in 3 sizes. Small, which fills a little bit of potion. Medium, which fills a medium amount of potion. And large, which fills your potion. Once your potion is full, you can no longer collect any other flowers. Just because that made sense to me. And yeah, that's the current functionality of the health potion. In the future, you'll be able to change not only modifiers to your potion, so adding different modifiers to what it does for you, like fire resistance, more rage, whatever, but also type of potion. So rather than being this giant Kool-Aid flask that you're holding and chugging, it could be a shot glass that you press once, take the shot, and it's regeneration over time, probably. Alright, let's move on to attacks. Left click is attack, pretty basic, but the attack is based off of the direction that you're moving. So if I'm moving left, I will attack to the left. Moving right, I will attack to the right. In addition to just clicking the attack, you can click and hold to charge the attack, and you see that changing there. And that charges not only just the damage, but after a certain threshold based off of the weapon and its max charge, the type of stagger that you are applying with your attack changes from light to heavy. And I will cover staggers later. So I can attack, I can charge my attack, and as I'm moving, you'll see what direction to release. And yeah, let's move on to sprinting attacks. So there's sprint. I'm now sprinting. You can tell by the louder, terrible footstep sound effect that I really need to fix. And this is a basic normal front attack. This is a sprint front attack. It's like jumping slam attack, which does 2 to 3 times more damage as just a normal attack. And sprint attacks are also motion based. What that means is the animation moves the player, rather than just my basic attacks, which are layered, so your movement is free as you're attacking. Where the sprint attacks, these attacks, actually move the player. You can see I'm actually moving quite a bit as I'm doing these attacks, and they're super useful, not just for increasing your damage, but also moving yourself around the battlefield. After sprinting attacks, we have attack canceling. So if I am just mashing attack to the right, this is as fast as I can attack with this iron longsword and its attack speed when missing, right? But I can block to cancel it and restart it. So if I attack, block, attack, that's obviously much faster than that. Yeah, this is just like a fighting game min-maxer thing I wanted to add for all of you tryhards, super sweats. I don't want to limit you. I want you to be able to be as fast and spazzy as you want to be. And this is primarily going to be useful for when you miss, because when you hit, I have a automatic attack refresh reduction, which the calculation is based off of the attack speed of the weapon. So it's not an instant refresh, but the faster the attack speed of the weapon, the more quickly you'll be able to attack again after making a hit. So again, mashing attack, not hitting anything, mashing attack, hitting. With this weapon, it's almost instant when I can attack again. Let me get him off of this object. There we go. Right, much faster. Yeah. Damage types and physical materials. Alright, so I have 7 damage types. Piercing, bludgeoning, slashing for the physical damage types, and then heat, cold, shock, and toxin for the elemental damage types. I also have a bunch of physical materials, which I can probably actually pull up real quick. Yep, this is live in engine. Deal with it. So these are the material types. I'll probably simplify this and not split like leather, chain, and metal, and just have those be 1 rather than 2. But my material types right now are earth, water, stone, wood, flesh, cloth, light leather, heavy leather, hide, scales, bone, light chain, heavy chain, light metal, metal scales, and heavy metal. And each one of these physical materials has its own set of resistances to the damage types that I talked about before. So this iron longsword that I'm using right now, as a base, does 2 bludgeoning, 2 slashing. No piercing. And different two-handed swords will have different variations of the types of damage that they do. Additionally, where you hit the enemy changes. I guess I might as well do that here too. Wait. Soldier mesh variations. Alright. So this is the dude that we're looking at. This is the physical, physics asset, I guess, that he is using. And each one of these is what you're actually hitting. Each one of these collision things is what is actually being registered as a hit. And these collision things all have a physical material. So if you hit them in the hand, it'll register as flesh. Hit him in the leg, it'll register as flesh. Hit him in the kneecap, it'll register as bone. Since he's wearing a metal helmet, it'll register as metal. And I intentionally made this guy naked down below and armored up top so that the top is metal, down below is flesh. So, what that means in-game is that depending on the type of weapon that you're using, you're going to want to hit them in specific places. And currently, honestly, I'm not doing a great job with my enemies of making this super apparent or even necessary. Yes, you can absolutely min-max by hitting them in the right spot, but I'm not making you ever do 0 damage. Like if I hit his heavy metal with a slashing weapon, I will still do some slashing damage because the resistance to slashing is not 100%. In the future, I'm going to have enemies with shields and invulnerable zones, basically, like super resistant zones that you won't want to hit with specific weapon types and damage types, as well as vulnerable zones where basically an enemy has a critical weakness to a specific area. But just as an example right here, while I have all of those different physical material types, for simplicity's sake, I am currently only changing the particle effects and sound effects to be flesh, metal, bone. And all of those different physical materials feed into either of those three at the moment. So I go slow-mo, we can see this better. I'll hit him metal, so you saw sparks, and the fake glow is actually like an orange color across the enemy. That was actually his hand, so that was flesh, and the sound effect is different, so metal, sparks. Oh, I hit his wrist. Flesh, blood. I don't know if I can actually get him in the kneecap here, but yeah. So that was a sound effect, and there are bone bits, which aren't that super apparent. Needs work. But basically, where you hit them changes. Also, the particles that are being played are split between the material hit, so the sparks and the glow are because I hit the metal material, and then the distortion effects are the types of damage that I am doing, so those are based off of your weapon. So right now I have a radial distortion, which is my bludgeoning damage, if I actually hit, and then I've got that horizontal, well, it's not always horizontal, it's based off attack direction, but that slash effect, distortion effect, which is the slashing damage that I'm doing. And those actually scale based off of how much damage of each type that you're doing. So if I charge this attack, you should be able to notice that the scale of those are larger. And also, I changed my stagger to heavy stagger rather than light. That's why you got flung to the ground. Alright, what is next? Cleave and knockback. So you've probably noticed that there's a little bit of knockback when I hit these characters. Not just the stagger animation, but their actual capsule component is getting moved. And that is based off of the cleave value of the weapon and the charge value. So if I charge my attack longer, it'll knock him back further, right? When I say cleave value, I mean this cleave value on the left side. So the Iron Longsword has a cleave value of 4.5. This is the hit stop. So you notice how my weapon stops for a second when I hit. That's how well it's cleaving through the enemy. So the heavier, more bludgeoning, less slashing a weapon is, the more it's going to hit stop as it's impacting a thing, rather than a lighter, more slashing weapon like a dagger or something that cuts through, right? It's not getting stopped as much. And you will really notice this when you're hitting numerous opponents. So let me just get a lot of these guys together. Alright, slow-mo. So you'll see the hit stop as I'm going through each one will stop it for that period of time based off of the cleave value of the weapon. Let's see if I can't get a perfect. First try. A stone longsword, which has a cleave value of 2, which is obviously less cleave than the iron longsword. So if I do this again with the stone bludgeoning weapon, see how long it's taking for each. So it'll have less cleave potential, but because it is lower, it actually has much more knockback. You see how much it's... And I didn't even charge that attack. If I charge it... Then I really set these guys flying, right? So that's how I'm differentiating the feel between like light agile weapons and heavy weighty weapons. Let's see, what is next? Dodging. Cool. So, as long as you have the stamina to perform a dodge, which is 25 by default, but items and skills will change this. in the future, you can dodge, and it is directional, so it's based off of the direction you are moving. It also does not cancel your attacks or blocks, and rather is layered on top. I did this because I wanted people to dance when fighting, like be able to move fluidly without interrupting their actions and attacks in enemies. Excuse me. So, not only does it not interrupt things, but it gives you invulnerability frames, and beyond that, it actually changes the collision type of the player's capsule so that you can pass through enemies, not objects, not static world objects, but you can pass through enemies with your dodge. This is extremely useful if you get surrounded by a horde of zombies like this. Or if you're just moving through an enemy to hit another enemy or repositioning on the battlefield, right? So I guess I'll just give you a quick example of this. I'm moving forward. I'm dragging around because I'm in slow-mo. I cannot pass through these guys even though I'm trying to move forward. But if I dodge, I can pass through. Oop. Dodge good. So, and I can dodge while I'm attacking. So I can attack, dodge, dodge through, dodge out of the it also lets you dodge under objects. So I can't run through this, but I can dodge under it. Sprinting while dodging will make your guy do a quick slide. That needs a lot of work. That is not how I want the slide to be. I want a proper slide that actually changes your friction that you can carry through slopes and whatnot. I have not programmed that yet. To be in the future. Yeah, let's see what's next. Iframes, dodging, blocking. Okay, when you block, you have a defense pool. It's like a secondary health pool. When this defense pool, you can't see it right now because I'm full health, or full defense rather, but it'll be right on the bottom left of the screen, right next to my health, so I'll block. So you see the defense pool go down. When it gets exhausted, my block is broken. And then a percentage of that damage goes over the top. I did add a damage reduction even if your block is broken. So you don't just get totally insta-gibbed, even though you did block. Yeah, that probably moves perfectly into timed blocks. So let's reset this so I can get one person to make this easier to see. So timed blocks are just that. It's just timing, right? So it is the time from which you execute your block to when you take the attack. The closer it is, the better. That light ching and the blue particle effects is a perfect block, which greatly reduces the amount of damage that your defense takes. If it's a little bit slower, that's a normal block, which does still reduce how much damage goes to your block, but not as much. And then if you're just holding this, it's a poor block. You got that red particle effects, that heavy, clanky, chunky sound. You can still block, obviously, but there's no reduction to the incoming damage. So that's one half of blocking. The other half of blocking is directional. So just as my movement changes what direction I'm going to attack, my movement also changes my block direction. And this is how I'm doing parries in my game. If you want to successfully parry, you match the direction of the incoming attack. And I have forgiveness for this, so technically his parry is up and to the left. That is the exact direction, but you can just block up or forward, and that will work, or you can block left and that will work. And you're probably noticing that those are different animations. That is because my staggers are directional as well. So, like if I hit them to the left, oh, hit them to the left. Did I break that? Strange. Used to be that he would be staggered in the proper direction, so I'll have to look at that. Maybe I broke it somehow. But this is the forward stagger, light stagger, I should say, and left light stagger. I limited this guy just to the single attack, so that's all I can show you, since my normal attacks seem to be only applying forward stagger. And that is probably a great time to roll into staggers and how they work. So, staggers are split between light and heavy stagger values, and enemies have light and heavy stagger tolerance values, and each enemy, what that tolerance is different. These guys, for this demonstration purposes, only have a tolerance of 1 for each, so if I apply any stagger, it will trigger it and refresh the tolerance. If you actually play the demo, which I hope you all do, you'll realize that the tougher enemies have much higher stagger tolerances, so they don't get staggered for each attack or even each active skill. So everything that you've seen so far has been light staggers. Let me just go ahead and do this so I can grab the kick skill, which applies heavy stagger. So that's a heavy forward stagger versus light stagger. This perfect rolls into active skills. So I grabbed this, which is, you need to stop, an active skill. So it's a skill that you literally have to activate. And you see there's a skill name. It is active skill. These are maneuvers. Skill name, maneuver. Skill name, passive skill, right? These are skill modifiers. So the active skills like kick, throw weapon, charge, lightning bolt, holy circle are all skills that you will apply to your hotbar by hovering over it and pressing whatever key you have set in your controls as your ability keys. So I can apply it to FRCZ 1, 2, 3, 4. So my talent tree. So I applied it to R, because that's where I'm used to having my kick. Or F, you can see on my hotbar down below. And it doesn't automatically apply if you actually get the skill, which is feedback that I've gotten. I will get to it when I get to it, where I'll automatically apply the skill to the hotbar. It's not doing it yet. I made this flashing thing down here that I need to add a outline to, so it's even more apparent to help people who aren't programmed with the Diablo 2 functionality like I am. Okay. So from active skills, we can go straight into maneuvers. Yeah, I'm gonna stop this so that I can talk without being chased around. Doop, 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 doop. Alright. So we covered the active skills. Maneuvers are different. First off, active skills have their own damage and their own scaling, which you see on the right. What attributes each one scales by. Maneuvers, the damage is based off of your weapon. Some maneuvers will add additional functionality, like counter, where if I'm just holding block, if I have the counter skill and I successfully block an attack, it'll automatically perform a counter attack just by holding block. Others replace skills. So for example, the lunge skill replaces the sprint forward skill or sprint forward attack that I showed you earlier, where it was like the leaping forward attack, which was like 2 times damage. This replaces it and turns it into 3 times damage. Whirlwind replaces your horizontal attacks with 300-degree spin attacks, which can actually strike twice, start and end. And then you have combos, which are triggered based off of attack chains. So when you attack, I am recording the last few attack directions, right? So previously I had this more complicated where it took more to trigger a flurry of blows, but it didn't really feel good to people. So right now, the only thing you have to do to trigger a flurry of blows is attack left and then right. So back and forth. And then you can chain it, because it registered, okay, I attacked left last time, so if I attack right this time, it'll be flurry of blows. If I attack right again, it'll just be normal attack. I also have flurry of blows take into account forward and back directionals as well, where whirlwind is only strictly horizontal. So if I see, my forward left attack won't trigger it, my back left, forward right, back right won't trigger it, but my straight right will trigger the whirlwind attack. And then lunge replaces that attack. And then if I was gonna do show you a counterattack, all I'm doing is holding block, and he performs a counterattack. Let's pull this guy back out of the nav, so I don't have to get chased around. Sweet. Maneuvers. Alright, treasure and loot drops. So enemies have their own loot drop quality, chance, and tier pool that they pull from. That also the players' loot drop chance and rarity chance influences when it does the calculation for what kind of item it will drop. Chests, which are randomly spawned, or have a random chance to spawn in points that I place as a possible chest spawner point, come in different sizes, and the sizes are the qualities, right? So you got your basic B chest right here. It's gonna drop basic common items. The next level of chest will drop uncommon items, rare items, epic items, right? Got a bunch of items and gold. Yeah, let's talk about attributes. So these are the attributes: strength, agility, knowledge, wisdom, resilience. I'll probably change this. I've gotten feedback that knowledge and wisdom, people don't like the namings of these, so it might be mind and spirit. We'll see. So beyond weapon scaling, because again, weapons and abilities scale off of these attributes. You can see bottom right of this details panel, you'll have your scaling, you'll have knowledge, strength, agility, wisdom, and the percentages there are how much it'll add to it, and how much you have is added to this base damage per hit calculation. So right now I've got 2 strength, so it's 5.2. If I remove that, it is 4, which is just the base 2 bludgeoning, 2 slashing, 4 damage. But add strength to it, then it scales that 2 bludgeoning, 2 slashing by an additional 30%. Adds it. So now it does a total of 5.2 damage. Also skills, right? So charge skill scales 25% off strength. Now it does 9.2. What to do? Base is 8, right? So the not only do the attribute points, and I'm sorry, those are these 4 main attributes that things scale off of primarily. Resilience is your, excuse me, your health, your defense pool, and your stamina. So as you increase resilience, it'll increase all of those. In the future, I might give it a slight damage resistance increase as well. As you see, all of my resistances are just 1% right now because I have no equipment that modifies my resistance or skills, like grit will, which I have not coded yet. But for the moment, resilience just does health, defense, stamina. Strength, in addition to scaling, does jump strength, and when I get equipment weight affecting your move speed and dodge distance, strength will reduce that penalty of your equipment weight. Agility increases move speed and will increase climb speed and dodge distance, as well as reduce movement noise. Knowledge will increase experience gain and energy. Wisdom will increase drop rate and energy. Let me scroll down on my stats. Let's go over some stats. So, by default, T for talent tree, tab for inventory. These are all the stats that I have right now. This is incomplete. There will be more stats added to this. My resistances are pretty complete. The only thing I might add is like a spirit damage type eventually, if it's even necessary. Maybe not. But yeah, these are the player stats. Pretty basic. You got your health regenerate, all of these things. The numbers might be a little confusing, like move speed 506. What is that? That's because I have not translated it yet to like values that make sense for a player-facing interface. These are values that are directly connected to my movement component in my player character. So jump strength is literally like Z velocity that is added to the character. That's why it's like 800, right? Like what the hell's 800 jump strength? That's the Z velocity that is added to the character when you jump. So you'll see, and the walk speed is the move speed currently. So that's why the numbers are kind of a little vague. If I make enough money, I'm going to hire a designer to make all this stuff make more sense and be nice and presentable. God, all of my stuff needs work. All of it. So yeah, if we just grab some of this equipment, you see now that I've got resistances, this also added to my health. So now my health is 50 higher, and my block regen, etc., etc. Grab some more items. Stacking the health. Jump. Do I have much jump strength? We can show that off. So this is my normal. This is my normal jump strength, normal gravity. Ooh, I do love attack speed though. Mod. Jump strength. Basically, as you stack these things, the apparent effect becomes more and more obvious. Obviously. So now, yeah, I can jump much higher. I can probably even jump over this thing. Whoa. Fantastic. Jump strength meta. I do plan on adding a slam attack. So, and then I'll also have a height from ground based calculation. So jump strength builds could actually be a thing. Different pieces of armor, different weight, move speed, yeah. So currently equipment doesn't have weight, it will. And that's where the equipment weight will reduce your dodge distance and your move speed, and strength will help reduce that penalty. You'll also have feather stats, so things that reduce your overall equipment weight. So chainmail scraps of loot, chainmail scraps of feather, or whatever, right? Right, so right now, while I've built the functionality for these things, and it's got some bugs for sure, this is not the vision, right? This is extremely basic, straightforward. It's got stats are applied, blah, blah, blah. And all of the equipment kind of is pulling from the same pool of stats. That will change in the future. I want primarily your physical resistances come from your armor. Cloaks will help a lot with elemental resistances. Necklaces, I want to actually add elements to your skills, your active skills. So for example, right now my charge and my kick just do bludgeoning damage, which is that icon right there. My own crappy hand-drawn bludgeoning icon, which is probably not as intuitive as I was hoping. So this just says bludgeoning right now, right? But if I was wearing a fire necklace, it would do bludgeoning and fire damage. And that is why skills like Lightning Bolt won't actually be Lightning Bolt, it'll be Magic Bolt. And then whether it's Lightning, Fire, or Ice, Shock, Toxic, will be based off of the necklace that you are using. Additionally, obviously, Lightning Bolt and Holy Sickle are not barbarian skills, which leads me into the next thing I wanted to tease, where for build crafting in the future, I really want you to be able to get skills from other classes and mix them into your build, and that's where rings are going to come into play. So rings will have skills attached to them, and they can either buff your current skills, or, like in this case, if I had a Magic Bolt ring, then it would add the Magic Bolt skill to my skill tree that I can apply skill points to. So then you can do like a Wizard Barbarian, or like, sweet mixed classes. Yeah, I think that is pretty much everything that I wanted to cover. I guess I can do a quick example of the cleave on these enemies here, because you see it a lot better across multiple enemies. So this is the stone weapon, which is bludgeoning. And I can slow-mo this so you can see very clear how long each hit stop takes. And then say, let's get an elemental one. Longsword, which has a much higher cleave, takes less time to travel through. Yeah, if you have any questions, I welcome all of that, of course. And I would love any feedback, any ideas. This project is only what it is already because of the feedback that I've gotten from my colleagues and my friends. And I've totally changed the direction of many of my systems based off of that feedback. So please, if you are invested, or you're excited about the project, or you think it needs something that would get you excited about it, I highly encourage you to give me that feedback one way or another. I will include a invitation link to my Discord channel. That would probably be the best place for you to send feedback. Most likely that I will hit it. That being said, I am a solo developer right now, which feels like trying to crawl through a marathon. I don't like it, because every single thing that I have to pick up and learn how to do is just at the level of a student. I really miss working with teams of specialists, and I hope that I can make enough money to hire teams of specialists to help me on this project. It'll be far, far, far better for it. But yeah, please join my Discord. Give me your thoughts. Tell me what you would like to see, and I would love to hear it. Thank you, and I appreciate your time. Enjoy.